You were driving at 75 miles per hour, then at 72 miles per hour, and these are on roads, not on the freeway. You're on bond for an unauthorized use of a vehicle, and now you are out here riding in outrageous speeds in your father's vehicle.
Truth, power, justice, true justice empire.
Announcements from the state.
Ryan Grimmer for the state of Texas.
Brandon
Lopez for Mr. Hall.
And are you are you Jeremiah Hall? All right, the court is in receipt of a violation report. Defense, did you have a chance to review the pretrial violation report?
Your Honor, I did review the report, and I just had a chance to speak with my client about it, and I'll answer questions.
All right, State, have you had a chance to review the report?
I have, Judge.
All right, so Mr. Hall, we have this violation report, and it appears, from what I've seen, that you've violated your GPS. All right, and it shows, I didn't know that it could do this, but it shows that you were driving at 75 miles per hour, then at 72 miles per hour, and these are on roads, not on the freeway. And the last I checked, I don't think in San Antonio there's a 75 mile per hour speed limit. There's a 70 as you get further down the highway, but not on the roads of San Antonio. And then there's the 68 miles per hour, and that's on Blue Wing Road. So I would like to know why this is occurring. So we need to address first, why did he violate the inclusion zone? And second, why is he driving over the speed limit excessively?
And I'll explain you can ask him questions, Your Honor. I talked to my client briefly at 5:07 a.m. or the time that's indicated that he leaves his house. He got a call from his twin brother who was broken down on 410 South. If you look at the map, 410 South right before you reach 37 South. He leaves his residence, and you can follow the path of the map. He leaves his residence, goes up 281, goes on to 410, picks his brother up right there on the side of the road who had a blowout, comes back down 37, and then cuts over the back way back to his house. So if you look at the numbers as they go around, it tracks as they circle around back to his house. As far as the speeds, I would imagine 281 and 410 have those speeds. I don't know exactly. I read through the addresses. I didn't get the indication that those were tied directly to the spot where they took that speed. It looked like that was a speed that was taking en route to there. I guess I would have to ask the GPS officer how to interpret that, but I think it would be indicative of the proper speed if it was 281, 410, 37.
74 miles per hour?
I think 281 south of 410 is 75 mile per hour zone.
This is Chavano Road.
And see, I see that, Your Honor, but I also see numbers going around. And I was having a hard time connecting what that meant to where that speed was taken. But I did talk to my client. He understands that even though it was an emergency in his mind and his brother's mind, that he cannot be leaving in GPS. I asked him why he had such a flippant response for the GPS officer that called, and that's it. And he said, I was panicking. I left to go pick him up. I knew I shouldn't, but he was panicked. And I said, well, that's the reason we're here. I mean, you've got to explain yourself. You don't have the option to tell somebody it's my business. You know, don't pay attention. He understands the seriousness of why we're here today. But the explanation does seem to track, Your Honor. Like I said, it's his twin brother who had just recently been, I think a week or two ago, lost a couple of fingers in an accident and I was having a rough go of it. I think if those factors combined hadn't been present, he might have told him to find another way. But he did what he thought was right at the time, which obviously was wrong. Retroactively looking at it.
All right, is there anything you wish to say?
No.
Just 1 second. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. You need to keep your voice up so that I can hear and so that the court reporter can hear. State your name for the record.
Jeremiah Hall.
All right, what would you like to say?
No, I was wrong, but I felt like it was right because he had nobody else on me. I couldn't even down.
All right, you're trailing off and lowering your voice. I didn't hear the end.
Staying him down.
All right, defense, do you have any questions?
Yes, if you were faced with a similar issue, what would you do? If he called you again and was broken down the side of the road, would you go get him? Yes or no?
Yes.
You would go get him?
This is already a bad start, as not just speedings doing it while out on bond. That means the court is already watching him closely, and now has given them a reason not to trust him at all. Would you risk it like this?
I didn't hear you. Do you understand that when you're on GPS house arrest, that you have to stay home? There's no, aside from the house being on fire, you cannot leave the house.
See, I thought some GPS would be like, you can go, but like you have a curfew.
But do you understand you don't have a curfew on yours?
No.
Well, do you understand now that
Yes,
you don't have a
yes,
curfew?
Yes,
All right. And if you have to go somewhere, you have to check into the GPS office, and they have to give you explicit permission.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so you can tell the court today that there will be no further offenses?
Yes, sir.
State?
If you did have a valid reason because you felt your brother was in danger or something had happened to him, why didn't you just tell the pretrial officer that?
I panicked, sir. I was panicking. I really didn't know what to say.
But if you panicked, why did you tell them it was none of their business?
So, I really don't.
I can't hear you.
I honestly don't. I was panicking. Honestly don't.
Do you understand that it's only their business to know where you are and to make sure that you're abiding by the rules that this judge gives you while you're on pretrial?
I do not know that, sir. No, I do.
I repeat it.
I do not know that. Now I do.
All right, so just one second. You're going to have to speak up because I know that when you're talking to your friends, you're not mumbling.
Yes, ma'am.
You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're going to have to keep your voice up so that I can hear you, so that the court reporter can hear you, so that your attorney can hear you, and so that the state can hear you. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so don't trail off when you're speaking and lower your voice. Keep it up here so that we can understand what you're saying. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state.
The judge has indicated her concern with the speeds that are recorded on that. Why were you driving so fast?
I was just trying to help my brother. I had nothing else on my mind.
What was the information you had that you were going, what were you going to go see your brother about? Like what had happened?
Yeah, going out and almost crashed when we died. So I went to go pick him up.
But do you understand that you driving those type of speeds puts other people in danger?
Yes, sir.
I'll pass it on, Chair.
Any other questions?
No other questions. I just wanted to add that his mother is present, not to come and make excuses for him, but she was aware of the incident with his brother. They was not aware that he left the house to pick him up. I don't know how that works, Your Honor, but that's the information that's given.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
You're 18.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, have you ever been in a court before? All right, so here's the thing. There are rules that you must follow. If you don't follow the rules, you know what's going to end up happening or could potentially happen to you?
Jail.
Yes. And you know when we would see you? On whatever date it's set, and you'll be brought over in an orange outfit. Do you want that to happen? All right, you have a curfew. And what that means is you need to be in your house. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Communication is key. All you had to do was call the pretrial services officer before you rushed and left and say, my brother has been in an accident. I'm the only person he has to go pick him up. May I go and pick them up? And then that answer was going to be either yes or no. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
When you're on GPS, I know people live by this rule that it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. When you're on GPS, you must ask for permission. It's worse if you ask for forgiveness after the fact. You understand? So what is up with these speed limits?
I wasn't even thinking. I was just trying to get my brother as fast as I could.
Yeah. What type of car were you driving? Everybody knows the vehicle that they're driving.
Avalanche. Avalanche.
All right. And is that your vehicle?
Yes, ma'am. No.
Whose vehicle is that?
My dad.
All right. So is that your father's only vehicle? Now, what would have happened if you would have wrecked that vehicle? Are you on the insurance for that vehicle?
No, ma'am.
So you know what that means if you would have wrecked that vehicle? That means that your father would have had to pay whatever damages because his insurance was not going to cover an 18-year-old driving these speed limits in his vehicle. Do you understand? And you know what that would have meant? That would have meant whatever amount that your injuries or whatever amount of damage that was done, your father would be on the hook to pay for that. Do you understand?
Here's something most people don't realize: GPS monitoring doesn't just track where you are, it can track how you're moving. Speeding like this isn't just reckless driving, it becomes a violation of court conditions which can land you straight back in jail.
State, what are you requesting?
Judge, and if I may I ask him one more question?
Yes.
You did mention in the court that you've never been in a courtroom before, correct? But you had a case out of Travis, correct?
Yes, sir.
You had a robbery case
I think it got dismissed.
but you were on bond for that case when this case occurred, correct?
Yes, sir.
Judge, I think it's just a situation where I don't believe that he understands the seriousness of the court's instructions to him, that it's not something where he's just able to decide whether it's appropriate for him to disobey the rules of the court depending on what he thinks is important, and then afterwards tell the people who are supposed to maintain control of his whereabouts that it's not their business. We think that that's concerning, just from a matter of someone who we have to trust that he has to follow the rules that you've given him. And for those reasons, I think that it's something that maybe we should consider putting him on. Is he already on full GPS, I assume?
Not on full. No, he's not.
Then I guess at least the state would maybe ask for full GPS until he can establish some track record that he's going to go and stay where he's supposed to go and not show the judgment that he showed on this particular situation.
And here's my concern. I know that your father didn't give you permission to use his vehicle. And since your father didn't give you permission to use his vehicle and you're driving erratically, well, that's wrong of him. But I don't think he did. I think you're just telling me that because you think I want to hear it. But here's the problem. You're on bond for an unauthorized use of a vehicle. And now you are out here riding in outrageous speeds in your father's vehicle that you are not covered for on the insurance. That's concerning. So what should I do with you? Do you think it would be fair for me to issue a judge's warrant and we can just hear your case while you're at the jail? Because I know you don't want it, but you violated the court's rules. And this is serious. I'm sure your attorney would tell you that there could have been an accident. So what do you think I should do with you? Because you made a contract, and your contract was you're going to be on GPS and you are not to go to any locations unless it was approved by GPS. And you violated that contract. And when you violate contracts, that means that maybe you can't be trusted. You understand? So what do you think I should do?
Obviously, didn't know the rules, but
No, you knew the rules.
not fully not.
All right, let's stop pretending. You knew the rules. The rules were you're on GPS. And you know how I know you knew the rules? Because this report that I have, it says, please be advised that the defendant chose not to explain the reason he left his home zone. The defendant stated he has privacy and that it was an emergency involving his brother. No further details were provided. That sentence tells me you know what the rules were.
Partially of them.
No, you knew that was the rule because they called you. And if you would have been concerned and would have been following the rules when they called you, you would have said, I didn't know what that's the rule. I'm on my way back home. But you didn't. And what I get is the defendant left his home zone and went joyriding. Now I realize joyriding, that's someone's interpretation. I understand that, but you left your zone. What are you working? So what do you do all day?
I'm all now.
Doing what?
Dishes, anything I could do.
All right, defense.
Your Honor, I believe my client's been on GPS for how long? Is that close to a year?
Yes.
And in that time, he has not had other violations. We understand the seriousness of that violation at current. our request of the court would be, I believe this admonishment has woken up my client to understanding.
And this right here is a critical mistake. Not all GPS monitoring is the same. Some people get curfews, others get full house arrest. If you don't understand your conditions, that's on you, and the court won't accept ignorance as an excuse.
The seriousness of this, we're asking that you continue him on the current level of supervision, and that he understands now, I believe, that any step off the line will mean that he's going to wait out his trial while in custody. But I believe the previous 12 months or 11 months of following the rules is an indication to the court that he's capable of doing such.
All right. Anything else further from the state?
No, Judge.
All right, I'm going to place you on full house arrest. And just so you understand what that means you're not to leave your house. If there's a barbecue in the backyard, they need to bring that plate inside the house to you. You understand? You're not to be, if somebody tells you, hey, we're barbecuing, come out and watch the grill while we go do A, B, and C. You can't do that. You're in the house full time. You understand? All right, I'm going to continue with the same conditions of the no contact, and it's full house arrest. Of course, no firearm possessions, and I'll waive the fees.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, and we're off the record, Brenda. So where are we with this case? Is this case headed to jury trial?
I'll talk to Ryan.
We can talk. I don't think we talked about that part of the judge, but we can confirm.
All right, if you guys can confer and just remain in the courtroom. And where's your mom? Hi, Mom, can you come up, please?
Let's see here.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you for coming down.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so he is not to leave the home at all.
Yes, ma'am.
If I receive another report where he is outside the home, what may end up happening is we may end up hearing your case while you're in an orange jumpsuit. You understand? All right, you have any questions about anything? Do you understand what's required of you? All right, just have a seat with your mom. You need to apologize to your mom for bringing her down here for this. Court is calling 2020 CR 8617W and 2020 CR 8616W, State of Texas versus Bobby Lee Riojas. I'm working on it. All right, could I have parties announced for the record, please, for the state,
Michael Villarreal for the state.
for the defense?
Really, Pat.
And are you Bobby Riojas? Robert Riojas, okay. All right, Mr. Riojas, I'm going to show you what's entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision in each of these cause numbers. And also states motion to supplement pending motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke probation. Did you review those documents with your attorney? Did you understand them? Okay. Are you the same Robbie Lee Riojas, who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2020 CR 8616W for the offense of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon on September 8, 2020 for a period of 8 years? Is that you? And are you the same Robbie Lee Riojas, who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2020 CR 8617W for the offense of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon for 8 years? Is that you? All right, state.
Can I read the same? It's the same condition for both, so can I just read it once?
Yes. All right, defense, do you have any objection to the state reading the allegation once, and your client's answer will be for both motions?
No objection.
All right, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. Violated condition number 5 in Bexar County, Texas. The defendant, Robbie Lee Riojas, did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of April and May 2022 in violation of condition number 5.
How do you plead to that, true or not true?
And the state would waive and abandon the remaining allegations.
No objection.
All right, Mr. Riojas, did you understand that by pleading true to violation of condition number 5 in each of the motions, the court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, and sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 5 in each motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Then in each of the motions, the court will find violation of condition number 5 true. Is there an agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. In both cases, the agreement is to grant the state's motion, enter an adjudication of guilt, and assess punishment at 3 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutional Division. There be an affirmative finding of family violence, and that these cases run concurrent with one another.
That's great.
All right, and is there an affirmative finding in each cause number?
Yes, Judge.
All right, Mr. Riojas, are you asking the court to follow that? Are you waiving your right to appeal?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Then the court will follow your agreement. The court will find you guilty in each of the cause numbers. Are there any no contact orders, State?
I believe there were one. There's see if I can get the name for you, Judge.
I'm looking at cause number 2020 CR 8616W, and I see no harmful or injurious contact that was outside the agreement, but usually I order no contact.
There are no harmful contact.
All right. Probation.
Right now, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
No harmful injuries contact for 17W. And the same for 16W.
All right. Thank you. In each of the cause numbers, then I will follow your agreement. Court will find you guilty, sentence you to 3 years in the prison, and each case will run concurrently. There's an affirmative finding of family violence in each cause number. And in each cause number, there's an affirmative finding of deadly weapon. And in each cause number, the court will give you credit for any time served. Is there anything else with regards to the punishment in each of these cause numbers?
Okay.
Then in each of the cause numbers, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review those documents with your attorney? Did you understand them and did you sign them?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, because you've reached a plea bargain agreement with the state, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand? And because this is an affirmative finding of family violence and a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. Do you understand?
Yeah.
If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you. You're going to have to do better. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in and out of prison. You understand? All right, good luck.
And there it is, consequence, not jail, but one step away from it. Full house arrest means zero freedom, one more mistake, and has not going home again. Do you think the judge was fair here or too strict?